My area and area of interest looks at the psychological aspect of athletic performance and injury. So I think I'll be looking at the Olympics from a different aspect to most people, probably looking at it from the perspective of the preparation that they've put in, the sacrifice that's come with it, and also whether they've had previous injuries and what are the obstacles that they've had to overcome to get there. My background comes from the psychological preparation for athletic performance and also injury, and I think what we forget is that what we see as individuals when we watch the games is the outcome, and we forget about the years of sacrifice and training and preparation that's gone into that 2 minutes of athletic performance or 30 seconds of athletic performance. So I think I'll be looking at it from the fact that what have these athletes done to get to where they are today, what obstacles have they had to overcome, and whether they've been faced with injury or any other factors as well. I think a lot of athletes refer to the journey and what they've done to be able to get to the peak of their performance. The journey for our athletes might refer to the sacrifices, injuries, obstacles that they've had to overcome. We see in the media, I think Australia as a nation, we're very much a sporting nation, and if we don't see our athletes on the dais, the first, second or third, generally we may see them as being unsuccessful, but I think what we forget is actually what these athletes have done throughout their journey to actually be where they are today. They are the best in our country, and that in itself is an amazing achievement, and I think we need to remember sort of where they've come from and what they've had to do to be there representing our country. Different athletes obviously have to overcome different obstacles. Probably some examples that I could give you, one of them would be Stephen Hooker, our pole vaulter. Stephen actually had to cease competition just so he could focus on his training to simply qualify for the Olympics. His story was about overcoming his mental demons and some issues that he was having with respect to his takeoff in the pole vault, and then actually trying to get over the height that he had trained to get over. His qualification took part in a private training environment with only about 150 people, and it seemed that that's what he needed. That was his psychological edge to be able to qualify for the Olympics. When I reflect as well, I also think about Stephanie Rice. The media has portrayed her as a party girl, but really she's a young female. She's a talented athlete, and she's the best in Australia at medley swimming, and she's actually had 2 shoulder reconstructions recently, and it's my understanding that she still swims with pain at the moment. So for her to just go to training and to actually cover the kilometres that she needs to in the pool for her preparation would be very challenging. And then I also reflect back to the Sydney Olympics. We all remember Cathy Freeman in her bodysuit and how much pressure we placed on her as a nation, and she won the 400, which was fantastic, but my reflection would be just the relief and probably just the stress that was released from her after she actually finished that race, just thinking that it's over, I've done what I've set out to do. The Olympics is definitely a mind game. I think the person who is the psychologically stronger athlete will win on the day. If we were presented with 2 athletes who trained the same way, who did the weights the same way, there's always going to be one winner, and it's going to be because one person is psychologically stronger than the other. Mainly probably due to their self-confidence, their self-efficacy, which is the belief in themselves, or the internal and external pressures that they have had to face. So I think, you know, when we talk about the Olympics, it is a mind game, and I think about some of the athletes in particular, the 100-metre sprinters. We might see them as being very confident individuals, but that is their competitive edge. That is how they beat their competitors. I think the mind's a very powerful tool, and I think we forget to, as a nation, that they have sacrificed so much physically and psychologically, but really these are ordinary people. They're young athletes. They are just being put in extraordinary circumstances, and they have been training extraordinarily hard for 60 seconds of what they see to be their goal, their achievement. And I think we as a nation, we need to get behind them, whether we see them in the finals, whether we see them on the dais, whether we see them in the gold medal contention, they're the best athletes in our country, and we really need to support them for who they are and what they do.